Peace, y'all. What's going on? My name is Jammall METAPHYSIC Gordon. I'm a DJ and producer from Southside Jamaica, Queens. Now I live up in the BX, so shout out to the BX. And I was born in Panama, Central America. The reason I say that is because culturally, it's influenced my music greatly. And growing up in New York also influenced my music greatly. And the type of music I do is kind of like it's hard to describe it, so I'll just say whatever comes to mind. It's like a progressive, alternative, underground, urban, hip-hop, soul, rock, reggae, jazz, R&B, just everything that is good music. Yeah, that's how I describe it.
Okay. Hi, thanks for being on the show. It's very nice to meet you. How did you get started in music?
How did I get started in music? As a child, I was exposed to music at a very, very early age. My music background goes all the way back to my early childhood. I basically just grew up around the house listening to everything that my family played, and they listened to a lot of Latin music, a lot of Caribbean West Indian music, a lot of soca, calypso, reggae, salsa, merengue, and local tunes as well. And then coming to this country as a child, then of course I was exposed to hip hop like that, because I got here in the early 80s, and that was like prime, like Run DMC, you know what I mean? Slick Rick era. And even though I was a child, I was always fascinated by it, and it kind of just overwhelmed me and it interested me at the same time. So I just kind of submerged myself in it completely and went in, and I've lived hip hop culture ever since.
I understand you make beats as well.
Yes, I do make beats, and making beats is pretty much hip hop production. And there's always a debate about the difference between being a music producer and being a beat maker. And in my opinion, it's actually just one and the same. It's just one aspect of the other. The branches from the same tree. That's like saying that someone is less of an actor because they act in television and not in film. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? And actor's an actor. So producers are producers. If you make music, you make music, whether you're beatboxing or you can play 10 instruments and you're just a virtuoso. So like, who cares? If you're making good music that moves people, ultimately your goal should be to express yourself and affect others. So yeah, I make beats every day, all the time, all day. Like, if I'm not doing it physically, I'm doing it in my mind. I come from that era, and I was fortunate enough to grow up in that era of digging in the crates and looking for samples and breaks and chopping them up in my drum machine and coming up with my own melodies and drum patterns. It's kind of like, for people that aren't familiar with that process, it's similar to making a collage. Like, you might not be there actually painting and drawing these images, but you'll cut different images from a different magazine of, you know, just photos from wherever, and then randomly place them on something else on a whole nother canvas, making a whole new creation, but just from other people's works. It's the same thing. It's just that you can hear it instead of see it. But more importantly, you can feel it, and that's what matters to me.
So what made you want to make beats?
What made me want to make beats? There's a show on television, and it still exists, but back in the days, it was like the best show in the world to me. It's called Video Music Box. Shout out to Ralph McDaniels. And also the Big Kid. Like, that show, most kids would run home from school to watch, I don't know, back then it was G.I. Joe and He-Man and Thundercats. I could care less about that. I ran home from school, and if I wasn't playing Skelly, I would sit down in front of the TV, not do my homework, get in trouble, risk getting yelled at. I wouldn't eat. I would just be glued, even though they showed the same damn videos every day until a new video came out, and I would watch that show.
What
I love
videos
hip-hop
did
music
it
so
show?
much. I'm sorry?
Do you remember the videos?
The videos? Yeah, oh man, do I remember the videos? I have them up here, like a library. I'm talking about everything from, because remember, I mean, for those who don't know, and this is so dope that this is public access, but before there was cable, you know, you had to watch these shows because there was no other access to see music videos, and MTV wasn't giving us that type of love until Michael Jackson kind of broke that door down, and we broke that wall down, and that was great. But prior to that, like Ralph McDaniels and his partner, they gave that light, and a lot of times they were shooting these videos themselves because there was nobody else that was interested in doing it. And now, like, the music alone, like, finances half of the music industry, not all of it. Anyway, the videos like LL Cool J and all the Slick Rick stuff, and like the live performances, like they would be all in these gutter ass clubs and just filming stuff that nobody would film. And my favorite videos like the Big Daddy Kane videos. I was a huge Kane fan. But the video that did it for me, and I say that to say this, moral of the story, how I got into beats is one day I saw the Pete Rock and CL Smooth video for They Reminisce Over You. And I thought it was so cool that the TROY was an acronym for They Reminisce Over You, because that, as a child, I thought that was genius. And second, I heard the beat, and I can hear that the music was not hip-hop music they were into, so it had to be some kind of, they took that music and transformed it into hip-hop. So I asked some older people that were DJs and that I thought were into the music thing how it was done, and they mentioned to me about drum machines and samplers, and I'm maybe like 11, 12, 13 years old, and I'm like, I don't know what that is, but whatever it is, I want to do it. So the minute I found out about studio equipment and I got my hands on it, I got into beats and I jumped right into it, and I never stopped, I never looked back.